Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Dylan here. We have a massive bombshell of a video today about Taylor Swift that you do not want to miss, okay? Taylor Swift, the truth about this woman just came out, and her actually endorsing Kamala Harris backfired not only on Kamala Harris, but on the left and about celebrities too, okay? This is the downfall of the celebrity endorsement and the left, all right? So the truth about Taylor Swift and about Kamala Harris just came out. And before we dive in, we're gonna read the Bible and pray because God comes first, amen? Comment amen down below if you believe that God comes first. Today's Bible reading is from Proverbs 18:10. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run to it and are safe. Amen. Comment amen down below, my friends. Let us remember that Jesus is the one true and only God. And let us not worship false idols, all right? So let's dive into the video. So we actually do have a shocking update. A lot of people are now trying to blame Taylor Swift for Kamala Harris's loss against Donald J. Trump. But first we have an update from Megyn Kelly about what Taylor Swift just did. Watch this, guys.
Today, Taylor Swift dropped a video on Insta where she just walks. You see her from behind walking into a stadium, and then she turns to the camera and she's holding her little kitty.
So she showed up to her event holding a cat to remind everybody that she is a childless cat lady, and she thought that that was a big like F you to Trump supporters, I guess.
Taylor Swift can relate at all to the problems of the working class or the middle class who are really considering Trump, even if they don't much like the man. Taylor Swift, like parading out childless cat lady. I'm not sure it has the message that you think it does, because your love life and your travails are in the news every other week. Like, we understand you sing all the time about being rejected and cheated on. Okay, it's like a little more complicated than you're leading us to believe.
So nobody other than Kathy Griffin is actually coming out to blame Taylor Swift for Kamala Harris's election defeat. Honestly, I think liberals are just freaking out, but let's tune in.
Actress Kathy Griffin, she's also a comic and a committed TDS sufferer who's not coping with reality. Here she blames Taylor Swift for contributing to Kamala's defeat.
Now we're paying the price. Freedom isn't free, and we've been free, and technically we're still a democracy. To be LGBT in America is not going to be a safe thing anymore.
What happened to Kathy Griffin?
To be a woman in America will be even less safe than it already is. I know this will get me in trouble, but I really, really wish Swift had done an event with Vice President Harris. I just did not realize how racist and misogynistic America still is.
We're supposed to get our advice from you, Kathy Griffin? Yeah, you tell me how racist and misogynistic I am. Thank you so much, Kathy Griffin, the party of unity. Well, you know what's actually crazy is that Taylor Swift actually was supposed to go to a huge Kamala Harris rally the night before the election, but Taylor Swift chose to attend a Chiefs game instead. This was supposed to be Kamala Harris's big moment to bring together the Swifties and Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift didn't actually give a crap. She went to a Kansas City Chiefs game instead. Maybe Taylor Swift actually ended up voting for Trump because she's wearing red here, just like Jill Biden did when she showed up to vote. So here's Candace Owens talking about how Taylor Swift and the celebrity endorsement of Kamala actually backfired on them. Let's tune in.
All right, so do you know what my favorite part of everything is? It's the referendum on celebrities. It's done, it's over, it is done. Hollywood is done. America now recognizes that all that glitter ain't gold. Hollywood just straight up lost their appeal. And I think they're shocked. I think they're genuinely coming to terms with it. Like, they have just been so A-list, so loved, so adored that they never saw this. They can't even comprehend it. They cannot come to grips with this new reality. Generally speaking, I think the American people all over the world now recognize that these people are either unhinged, unhappy, or uneducated. That's it. Unhinged, unhappy, or uneducated. And they went all in on celebs for Kamala because, again, she didn't run a campaign, right? She wasn't qualified. So they said, you know what? Just get the celebrities to come out and people will listen to them because they believe, and when I say they, I'm talking about the deep state, that the majority of Americans are uneducated. So they're just like...
I mean, Why is someone who has $1 billion, how are they going to relate to Democrats? Who aren't the Democrats supposed to be for like the lower class people? It's kind of weird, right?
It doesn't really matter. We've trained them to worship these stars and they'll do what they say. I'm talking, everybody came out. Leonardo DiCaprio, he's always so strange. Like, he's speaking about climate change. This man is always on a yacht with 23-year-olds.
That's hilarious.
You had, of course, notoriously, and I loved this for her so much, Taylor Swift, because I just find her to be so arrogant and so pompous.
Even the cat looks sad. Look at the cat. Even the cat looks like they don't want to be there.
She had the sweeping cat endorsement. Love a childless cat lady. Yeah, America said no to childless cat ladies, Taylor Swift. We did. And I get that you were on a high, like you always are, because you're in that new relationship high and you're kind of always in a new relationship and you were coming off of your tour and people do love you as an artist and the music that you make. So you're just thinking, how could I lose? Like, everyone's rooting for me and Travis Kelce to get married. So all I have to do is tell them how to vote and they'll accept it. And they didn't accept it. They said no to you, Taylor Swift. Please come down from your high horse. No one actually cares what you think politically because you don't live a real reality.
True.
Okay, you're jetting back and forth. It's like no one can even relate to these things. What they want from you is for you to break up with Travis Kelce and drop the next album so we can bop to the tunes. That's what we want from you, Taylor Swift. Just listen to me, okay? That's it. Not your cat and telling us to vote for Kamala Harris.
Okay, for once I actually have to disagree and argue with Candace Owens. I don't think we need any more Taylor Swift albums. I think her music sucks. Maybe it's just because I'm a dude, but I think her music is mediocre at best. Maybe 2, 3 out of 10. I don't understand why she has such a huge cult following. Maybe it's because she helps women feel good that they keep getting broken up with, because she's the cool older woman who's, you know, can't find true love.
Because you're scared about something and you want to be a childless cat lady. I don't even know what the vibe was, but we said no. And of course we had Megan Thee Stallion shaking her booty for Kamala, because this is for the black people. Now you know what you gotta do. Shake your booty for Kamala. Let's watch that.
What's up, honey? This is your girl Megan Thee Stallion, aka the hot girl coach, reporting live with the future president of the United States. Everybody, what do you have to say to the American people? We are not going back.
Okay, I have to say, Megan Thee Stallion, her music is actually pretty good. Like, in comparison to Taylor Swift, Megan Thee Stallion's like 3 out of 10. Taylor Swift's like 1.5 out of 10. Yeah, it keeps going lower.
That is just so embarrassing. Then you had, of course, JLo, who brought the tears. Give it to us, JLo.
I promised myself I wouldn't get emotional. But you know
but
what?
You are.
You know what?
What?
We should be emotional.
Should we?
We should be upset.
We should. I flew in here on my private jet, you guys. And we had lobster and champagne and...
should be scared and outraged. We should. Our pain matters. We matter. You matter. Your voice and your vote matters. And look, don't be afraid to make people around you uncomfortable. Invite people around you to be the change, to go out there and vote. Nobody likes having tough conversations or talking about politics, but trust me, I've been in some of these rooms. I see the way power works in this country. They love it when you do nothing, okay? A non-vote is an agreement. It just makes it easier for them to do whatever they want, whatever serves them. And this election is about your life. It's about you and me and my kids and your kids. Don't make it easy. Make them pay attention to you.
Wait, your kids and my kids? Don't you forget that you're up here, you know, most of these people are voting on abortion. That's what they care about more. So they don't really care about your kids. Oh gosh. Okay, don't cancel me, please.
That's your power. That's your power. Your vote is your power.
I mean,
why is she wearing like shoulder pads?
Acts like she sings. She's always just been a D-. You know what I mean? That's just like poor acting. It's like the JLo rom-com flick that's just like in the background that you're watching. You're happy to watch it. You know, but it's not particularly good. It's not going to win any awards. Like, that's that, right? I promised I wasn't going to get emotional, but we should get emotional. We should care about our future. And I feel like that's always her expressions in every movie and the way she sounds in every movie when she's trying to deliver things. And it just feels fake. And she did it because she had to do it because, you know, Diddy and her got into a little bit of trouble, at least according to Kanye. And then, of course, who could forget?
Diddy? Wait, what? Wait, Jennifer Lopez and Diddy knew each other? Hold up. Wait a minute. What? Okay, she actually kind of has a cool style back then with the bandana, the handkerchief. I used to wear one of those too when I was in like elementary school. Dang, I actually didn't realize that they knew each other. Did Taylor Swift and Diddy know each other? Taylor Swift, Diddy. It's so hard to tell like what's real and what's not anymore. So now here's actually Dave Rubin and Megyn Kelly talking about how Taylor Swift's ignorance actually just backfired. Let's tune in.
I want to jump to one other thing because, you know, Andrew Breitbart, of course, said that politics is downstream from culture. And you've been talking a bit about Taylor Swift and what's going on over here with her and her football boyfriend. So yes, I'll show you the New York Times headline here. Right after the debate, she had an Instagram post ready. Taylor Swift endorses Kamala Harris. Before we get to the nuts and bolts on that, I saw this, Megan. Check this out on as it pertains to climate change. This is from the N Wokeness Twitter account.
What?
8,205 tons of CO2 in a year. An average American emits 16, and of course climate change was one of the things she mentioned.
The average American emits 16 tons of CO2. She emits 8,000?
In her reasoning for supporting Kamala Harris. My take on this is not, Taylor Swift did not write the statement. I don't know that she cares about politics or knows who any of these people are. I think this is much more an attack on a lot of the dads of America, that you get all of the young girls who love Taylor Swift to kind of dad comes home from work and suddenly he has to be assaulted by them because they support Donald Trump, and it can just hack away again at what's going on in people's homes.
This is why I'm so mad about this. And this is why I went off on her last night. There's a little girl right now in maybe Wisconsin, some Midwestern state, whose parents are going through a divorce. This little girl has acne and is coming into puberty and into her adult female body and is feeling uncomfortable. And this little girl may be on the spectrum. That is a typical profile of a child who goes down the gender rabbit hole, who maybe isn't minded enough at home because the parents are in the midst of a divorce, etc. And she finds herself on Reddit for 3 hours a day or one of these darker websites. And this trans ideology takes hold of her in a dangerous and pernicious way. And the parents aren't around to realize just how far she's gone. And this little girl is going to declare, I think I'm a boy, because the internet will sell it to her as the solution to all of the problems I just listed.
Yeah, and you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword because the internet, you know, a lot of stuff isn't vetted. So it's like you go on Reddit and it's just a public forum.
None of those problems is real. It's just that you're trans. That's how this works. And they will love bomb her into believing this is true. And she will go to her parents and say, I want you to put me on puberty blockers into cross-sex hormones, and I want so-called top surgery. It's so benign sounding. Yes, it's a double mastectomy where I'll have tubes coming out of me. I'll never be able to breastfeed a child, etc. But I want it because I'm secretly a boy. And if they give it to her, she will be sterile for life. She will never breastfeed a child.
Wow.
She will never achieve sexual orgasm. And this girl's 13 and wants to make these decisions for herself. And when those parents say no to her, this little girl will be able to walk across the border and go to Minnesota, thanks to Tim Walz, and a court will seize custody of her from her Wisconsin parents and will funnel her into the Minnesota system, which will give her the puberty blockers, the cross-sex hormones, and will happily cut off her breasts.
Oh my gosh.
Her genitals.
Oh.
In order to, quote, make her a boy. And the reason that they will do that is because of Kamala Harris's running mate, and her policies are exactly the same as his. And this little girl may do all of this after one day, or in advance of one day voting for the ticket that did all of this. And when she hits 18 and realizes she was just going through normal adolescent strife, but she no longer has her breasts, and she has an Adam's apple, and she sounds like a man, and she looks like a man, and forgive me, but where a normal female clitoris should be, she has something looking bizarre and like a mini penis, because that's what happens. She's going to have Taylor Swift to blame.
That's so weird to think about. Yeah, Taylor Swift, that's what she endorsed. Tim Walz, I mean, what's going on in Minnesota is absolutely insane. And thank God we didn't get Tim Walz and Kamala Harris, because that stuff would have come to other states too, guys.
Because supporting that ticket is a blessing on everything I just listed. And so she is no heroine to young girls.
Well, you know what's crazy is like Megyn Kelly, that's the only reason I found out about Tim Walz's policy that he signed, because it's like they didn't talk about that once. At least I never heard about it. So this is actually Candace Owens again going scorched earth on the celebrities. Let's tune in.
They went full bore. I mean, they had Taylor Swift with an effing cat, right? Posting on Instagram. They brought out Beyonce. They brought out JLo. I mean, they went, LeBron James. They ran every celebrity that they had in order to convince the public that they had to vote against Trump. And what's happening right now, they've already lost the celebrity game. So it's going to be interesting to see how they pivot, no matter what. That I think we have now fundamentally changed the way that we have proven that people are fundamentally changing the way that they vote, especially black men. That is the kill shot to the Democratic Party. So if LeBron James doesn't work, if Beyonce doesn't work, if Taylor Swift and her cat doesn't work in a soppy post about, you know, childless women with cats, what are they running on?
That's all they had. You know, it's crazy. I was actually watching the BBC. They were so hyped up. They thought that this was going to make such a huge difference. Watch this, guys.
Annoying Stephanie Murphy, former Democratic Congresswoman from Florida. Stephanie, to that Taylor Swift news first. Her endorsement has been hotly awaited for months now. What impact will that have?
Well, I know the one impact that it will have is on voter registration, because we've known that in the past when she puts a call out to encourage people to vote, there have been significant spikes in voter registration. I think in 2018, about 65 million new voters registered to vote after an Instagram post, not too dissimilar from that. But
this is a legit Democrat leader who's like talking seriously, thinking that Taylor Swift's endorsement is going to help.
It affect the actual outcome of an election, and that's not yet proven. In 2018, and I'm sure in other elections, the candidates that she preferred didn't actually prevail. But I think what's good is that she is engaging a younger generation, groups of people who hadn't previously been registered, to register and participate in their democracy, and that's healthy no matter who wins.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is that Taylor Swift's endorsement actually ended up hurting Kamala Harris. This was a study that suggested this. According to a poll that Taylor Swift coming out to endorsing Kamala Harris actually did worse for Kamala Harris. Can you guys believe that? The Daily Show, they actually thought that Taylor Swift upset GOP. Watch this.
I'm sure not all conservatives are as mad as Megyn Kelly. In fact, some of them went to great lengths to reassure themselves that Taylor Swift's opinions just don't matter.
We admire Taylor Swift's music, but I don't think most Americans, whether they like her music or fans of hers or not, are going to be influenced by a billionaire celebrity who I think is fundamentally disconnected from the interests and the problems of most Americans.
Look, they actually thought that was funny, but in reality, JD Vance was just spitting straight up facts. Like, this Daily Show thing sucks. Oh, let's hold up the laugh signs and let's laugh at JD Vance, who is actually a true leader. So we actually do have some data that showed Taylor Swift's endorsement of Kamala Harris actually hurting Harris. Let's tune in.
This is embarrassing. Study shows Taylor Swift's endorsement may turn off voters that Harris needed.
By the way, do we have the chart?
No. Rob, if you have the chart, I'm going to look for it. I'm going to read this while you're looking for it. So the endorsement of Kamala Harris after the debate went viral, but research shows it may not help Harris. A national survey found that undecided Swifties who initially showed a high likelihood to vote, 0.71 on a 0 to 1 scale, reported a sharp decline in intent to 0.4. Damn. When Swift endorsed Kamala Harris. Trumpy Swifties were unaffected by Swift endorsement, and those already planning to vote for Harris showed no increase in enthusiasm. The research highlighted that celebrities, including Swift, struggle to sway voters on deeply partisan issues like abortion or candidate. While Swift activism has mobilized voter registration in the past, the study suggests her political endorsement may backfire, especially amongst undecided voters. So here's the numbers, guys. So
like undecided voters were like turned off so much by Taylor Swift, like they were offended, so they ended up going to Trump? Like, what?
So, Tom, you want to take this? Go ahead and take this since you're having fun with this.
This is just wonderful. So you take the 18 to 34. There's your core Swifty. 8% were more enthusiastic, but 11% were less enthusiastic about Kamala Harris.
Net 3.
A net negative 3. And 80% it didn't effing matter.
So Kamala Harris's big plan to get the celebrities, and this is only one study, who knows what people thought about freaking JLo up there sobbing her eyes out after she came in on her private jet. Yeah, what do you think that impact had on Americans? So I know we're doing a lot of Candace Owens, but I really like her a lot. She actually came out and said Taylor Swift is the most toxic feminist ever. Let's tune in.
Taylor Swift is over here in the UK at the moment on her Eras tour. I will be attending with my 12-year-old daughter in a couple of weeks, one of her shows. I'm a big Swifty fan. I think
save your money, Pierce. Save your money.
She's a great role model, actually, a brilliant talent, amazing businesswoman, generating billions of dollars, conquering the world of entertainment. You think she's a toxic feminist. If you've seen what she's ever done in business, how she tries to manipulate her audiences to get out of deals and contracts, she's totally insane. She's the most toxic feminist that's ever existed. You stand by that?
Yes.
Oh, you don't.
Yes, I do.
You think Taylor Swift is the most toxic feminist ever?
Well, do you want to talk about what she did to Scooter Braun? Because it was pretty horrific.
I think he's awful. You know? From my personal experience.
You think he's awful? And
awful little rat. She completely lied to her fans.
Yeah. First off, Taylor Swift is cosplaying a 15-year-old. She's 34 years old, shrewd businesswoman. She's the same age as me. We're born in the same year. She's gonna be 35.
That's
Actually,
young.
She'll be 35 in a couple of months.
You're young, Candace.
Okay? So, yes, sure. But she's cosplaying a 15-year-old. So when Taylor Swift wants to get something done in the business world, what she does, that she jumps on Tumblr and she manipulates a bunch of 15-year-olds into believing, I wrote these songs on my floor, and in Scooter Braun, the evil man, is trying to take them from me. I
mean, Pierce, like, 35 is not that young. Like, it's obviously young, but, like, how old are we pushing back this woman and not wanting to settle down with the guy? I mean, you're still going on the internet talking trash about your exes. It's like, that's like high school behavior. That's what Candace Owens mean. It's like, she's an adult and she's acting like a high schooler. You keep singing about picking the wrong man, picking the wrong dude. Oh, it's all the dude's fault. Taylor Swift, it actually might be your fault.
Reality, her dad owned 15% of the company. Her dad, therefore, was aware that the business was being sold. Her dad signed the deal. If Taylor Swift wasn't the most famous woman in the entire world, she would just be wealthy. Because she comes from a very good background. She didn't get into some deal where she was taken advantage of. Her dad just didn't think she was going to be as big as she was. Scooter Braun simply bought a company and inherited her masters as a result of that. Her 15-year-old fans don't understand the way that contracts work.
Well, she had the last laugh.
And they threatened to kill, stop, I'm not done. They threatened to kill Scooter Braun and his children.
What?
He said, come to the table, let's talk. Please tell your fans. And she didn't do it. She didn't do it because she wanted out of her contract, right? So when you get to the level that you are willing to allow children to be harmed in order to get what you want, you are not a feminist icon. That's for me. But I want you and your daughter to enjoy the show. I hope you shake and post things on your Instagram. I'd love to see yours twerking about her 39
you
relationship.
You want to see me twerking?
Yeah, Pierce, maybe he's not going to go to the show after all. But here's actually Ben Shapiro going scorched earth on Taylor Swift. Let's tune in.
The other big piece of news last night, at long last, the moment has come. Tay-Tay McSwift, she has finally issued her endorsement. And the crowd goes mild. Wow, that was unexpected. By the way, she endorsed Biden-Harris last time in 2020. I mean,
yeah, we all see how that worked out. Biden-Harris sucked.
I'm forgetting this. It's not as though she's an apolitical figure. All this ridiculous nonsense about why isn't she signing? And we know who she supports. We know. She's a 36-year-old single woman with no children who acts like she's 17 years old in all of her songs. What do you think she's voting for? How do you think she's going to vote? There's a shocker. And you can chalk this one up under this is already embedded in the system.
She's 34, Ben, okay? She's not 36. Come on, give her a break.
I'm like, if you think this is going to win additional votes, all of a sudden a bunch of 20-year-old women who weren't voting for Kamala Harris are suddenly going to rush to the polls because Taylor told them to. Yeah, good luck. So she put out a statement, quote, like many of you, I watched the debate tonight. If you haven't already, now's a great time to do your research on the issues at hand and the stances these candidates take on the topics that matter to you the most. As a voter, I make sure to watch and read everything I can about their proposed policies and plans for this country. Who thinks that's true? Really, really? She like of the Austrian school, the Chicago School of Economics, Keynesian, like, well, what is her? I want her hot take on the impact of supply side economics. I'm sure that's what she does. She sits around on that tour bus just all day long reading about the readiness of the American military on the foreign front. That's what she does.
She's on her private jet just like, oh, let's read about today's economic policies. Let's talk about the political state of the world today. She's just constantly researching policies on foreign war and foreign policy and tariffs. Taylor Swift must be an expert on tariffs, right?
She browses all of their campaign plans. Probably that's what she's... Anyway. Recently, I was made aware that AI of me falsely endorsing Donald Trump's presidential run was posted to his site. It really conjured up my fears around AI and the dangers of spreading misinformation. It brought me to the conclusion I need to be very transparent about my actual plans for this election as a voter. Okay, so now she's going to explain why she's even bothering to do this. Now, the answer is, of course, because there's lots of social pressure for her to do it, so she's going to do it. It's AI. Yeah, it's because Trump posted a dumb AI picture of you that you're endorsing Kamala Harris. The way to combat misinformation is with truth. I will be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the 2024 presidential election. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she fights for the rights and causes I believe need a warrior to champion them. I think she's a steady-handed, gifted leader, and I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if we are led by calm and not chaos. I was so heartened and impressed by her selection of running mate Tim Walz, who has been standing up.
Tim Walz is like the freaking worst VP pick ever. Yeah, here's Rachel Maddow actually telling Tim Walz that Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala and him, and he is like freaking out, like he thinks this is the best news ever. It's completely embarrassing. Let's watch this.
While we have been talking, somebody's just handed me something, and I'm going to do sort of a not very TV thing, and I'm going to read it to you in totality. I'm going to read you the whole thing because this was, I don't think you know about this, but this was just posted online by a woman you might have heard of whose name is Taylor Swift. And she has posted this online along with a photo of her cat. And I'm going to read to you what she just posted. Quote, like many of you, I watched the debate tonight. If you haven't already, now is a great time to do your research on the issues at hand and the stances these candidates take on the topics that matter to you the most. As a voter, I make sure to watch and read everything I can about their proposed policies and plans for this country. Recently, I was made aware that AI of me, quote me, falsely endorsing Donald Trump's presidential run was posted to his site. It really conjured up my fears around AI and the dangers of spreading misinformation. It brought me to the conclusion that I need to be very transparent about my actual plans for this election as a voter. The simplest way to combat misinformation is with the truth. Then she says, quote, I will be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the 2024 presidential election. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she fights for the rights and causes I believe need a warrior to champion them. I think she is a steady-handed, gifted leader, and I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if we're led by calm and not chaos. I was so heartened and impressed by her selection of running mate Tim Walz, who has been standing up for LGBTQ plus rights, IVF, and a woman's right to her own body for decades. I've done my research, and I've made my choice. Your research is all yours to do, and the choice is yours to make. I also want to say, especially to first-time voters, remember that in order to vote, you have to be registered. I also find it's much easier to vote early. I will link where to register and find early voting dates and info in my story. With love and hope, Taylor Swift, signed Childless Cat Lady. I have to get your response to that, Mr. Governor.
All those things, I am incredibly grateful, first of all, to Taylor Swift. I say that also as a cat owner, a fellow cat owner. Look, Swifties, you heard it. We know that it's there. That was eloquent, and it was clear. And that's the type of courage we need in America to stand up. We've seen it out of those Republicans who were at the DNC. We've seen it out of women who would like to have their own personal lives kept personal, but are forced to go out there because they nearly died because they can't get abortion services in a pregnancy. And now you have somebody like Taylor Swift coming out, making that very clear. This would be the opportunity, Swifties. KamalaHarris.com. Get on over there. Give us a hand. Get things going.
Who in their right mind is so heartened and impressed by Tim freaking Waltz, dude?
For LGBTQ minus divided by sign rights, IVF, and a woman's right to her own body for decades. Well, I no, you shock me, woman. I've done my research and I've made my choice.
Maybe it actually did help Kamala a ton, but it didn't help her enough, right? Let me know your thoughts down below. Take care. God bless. We'll talk soon.